Hey guys, as I do most of the time on Saturdays, I'm here to talk about an episode of a superhero animated series. And today, I'll be talking about the Batman Beyond episode Countdown. If you don't want no spoilers hollering at you, then turn this video off right now. Or if you don't mind spoilers, then stick around as I sum up the episode before I get into the review itself. The robot Zeta comes back to Gotham, is accidentally strapped with a bomb by Mad Stan, and Batman has to find him. Okay guys, that's it, and I'll see you next week with a review of Nah, I'm just kidding. But seriously, that's about it. There's very little that I can talk about in this episode. It does bring back Zeta after he's been off having his own solo adventures since his debut in the titular episode Zeta, but this episode doesn't really do anything with him. He's a plot device that's going to blow up about 6 square feet of Gotham unless Terry can find him. He doesn't go through any kind of character arc, nor does Batman for that matter. He doesn't do anything. This episode might feel like more of a big deal to people who watched and liked the Zeta Project TV show, but only one season of that show was even released on DVD, and I don't even have that show. This illustrates just how asinine crossovers between TV shows can be when you're watching the shows over a decade after the fact. I guess we're lucky this wasn't something like the Magnum P.I. and Murder, She Wrote crossovers, where the plot starts in one show and ends in another. It's just a guest appearance by characters from another show. But like I said, I never watched the Zeta Project, so this episode means nothing to me, just like these characters. Yeah, Zeta has shown up in this show before, but what do we really know about him? Everything we do know came from his introduction episode. As I said, we didn't really get anything about him in this episode. Zeta's chick sidekick from his show does show up here, but she doesn't get anything to do either. Batman saves her from some jokers, and she tells him that Zeta's been kidnapped, and that's about it. I guess I should mention that this is the first time that Mad Stan has ever been an actual villain instead of what I would call a placeholder villain. You know, we need to establish that Batman does lots of things that we don't get to see in this series, so he's fighting Mad Stan at the beginning of an episode before he fights the real villains like the Royal Flush Gang or Spellbinder or something like that. Well, that's what Mad Stan has been for this entire series until now. I guess the people making the show figured that they owed him at least one real episode, and he doesn't do anything either. He kidnaps Zeta and puts a bomb on him and literally puts himself to sleep for reasons? Batman doesn't get a big fight with Stan like he would with literally any other villain. As far as I know, Stan is still asleep from his sedative that he took in his headquarters at the end of the episode. We don't get a sad origin story for Stan, or at least a deeper look into his characterization beyond he hates the government. We don't even really get a serious threat from him. You might think the bomb he strapped to an unwitting robot would be a big deal, except that when Batman throws it out the window, it's not even as big as my room. Was Stan hoping to blow up a fire hydrant with that pitiful thing? And you might be saying that Stan actually isn't the bad guy of this episode, and it's the NSA agents who are hunting down Zeta in his debut episode, and presumably continue to hunt him down in his own series, although I'm not sure if they did or not. But they don't do anything either. Batman asks them to help him find Zeta so that the city doesn't get blown up. Hint, it doesn't, and they say no. Then they track Batman, Batman finds Zeta, throws away the bomb, and then Zeta, a known shapeshifter, leaves in the Batplane while Terry pretends to be a janitor while the agents continue to search for the robot. I think the episode maybe tells us the name of the leading agent who we've seen a couple of times in this series at least once, but I don't even remember it. That's how unimportant he is. Honestly, they should have called this episode Nothing Happens because these characters don't do anything. I would say this entire thing was forced on the people making this show as a last-minute ratings grab. Yeah, this Zeta Project show isn't doing too hot. Let's force a crossover so that people who are about to lose a show that they really like will hop onto another show. But I don't even know if that's actually what happened, or if these guys were just trying to find any kind of plot to fill out the last couple of episodes of their series, and they settled on a subpar, plotless episode like this, and they figured it didn't matter if it sucked because the series was almost over. Both options are equally possible. So those are my very scathing thoughts on this episode of Batman Beyond. But don't distress, I'll be back next weekend with some discussion on an episode of Batman the Animated Series, and the week after that, I'll be talking about the final episode of Batman Beyond, and I also do other videos throughout the week, so be sure to check those out if you want to. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.